I'm delighted to be here tonight. It's great to see many of the old friends. It's yet another ACADIA conference that I'm very happy to participate in. And since this is a cultural project, I thought I should speak a little bit about the culture of ACADIA, because I had a chance to witness it over the decades and see how it changed. The first ACADIA that I attended was in 1991, 30 years ago, which makes me a real dinosaur. So it was in Los Angeles. I remember it vividly. Chuck Eastman was one of the co-chairs. And it actually played a huge role in my life. Because of it, I got a full-time job for the first time in my life. So I was a doctoral student at that time. I was attending this kind of conference of like-minded people, trying to meet folks. I ended up eating lunch next to an older fellow who was a professor at the University of Miami, Richard Langendorf. And a year later, he sent me an email and said, look, we have a position opening up. I think you should apply. So I did, got an interview and got a job. And it was all because of ACADIA. So in all seriousness. So then, after that first experience, I discovered the community of like-minded people. And we were all kind of outcasts at that time in our own faculties. So it was delightful to kind of be in the community of people who were thinking, say, like you. So it was a kind of a support group, so important for all of us. It's like, okay, you're not alone. There are other people out there that believe in this stuff. And just as Karen said, many of us were really enthusiastic to be involved in that group. So I volunteered to serve as a co-chair of a conference. I volunteered to be on the steering committee, was then elected president. And in 1997, those of us who were on the steering committee, now the board of directors, we were thinking, how do we make ourselves mainstream? How do we really open what we do to a broader community? And at that time, we launched what I think was the first internet-based design competition. It sounds funny, but that was really the first competition. The Library for the Information Age, and we assembled an amazing jury at that time. So we had Bill Mitchell, Tom Main, Greg Lynn, Robert Ivy, and I'm missing someone. So anyhow, it was an elite crew, so to speak, who were to judge the entries. The response was overwhelming. There were over 600 entries. And then we had to, quickly assemble several different juries to get that down to about, say, 50 entries that the jury could review in the end. But I think that brought ACADIA to the attention of the wider community. And I think just to illustrate how far we have traveled, like in mid-90s, a number of us were engaged in virtual design studios where we were connecting across continents and so on. Electronic design studios were then becoming options in different schools. And it took us almost 25 years thanks to a pandemic, to demonstrate to everyone that studio can be taught online. So if there is something good coming out of the pandemic, is I think that the rest of our colleagues have discovered that certain things can be pursued through the channel that we are using now. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But can it do the job? Yes, it can. And can it do that better than what we have historically are used to doing? Yes, it can. So I think the experiment that we have been unwillingly subjected in all of our schools, over the past year and a half, I think will change in some fundamental ways how we teach architecture. Karen made a reference to teaching, and as I've seen in the presentations at this conference, like how we teach and what we teach still remains of core interest to many in our community. So I'll gladly participate in the cultural history project. I may have missed maybe 2 or 3 conferences in this past 30 years. This is my scholarly home, and I intend to continue to attend ACADIA conferences in the future, and I hope there will be many more. So thank you again for the invitation to participate in the panel, and again, I look forward to more ACADIAs. Thank you.